Well, thank you for joining us. My name is Njenga, and as always, we have lined up a comprehensive bulletin for you. Join me for the next 30 minutes as I update you on the latest in the world of business. And today we look at investment in renewable energy. The government has invested close to 145 billion shillings in renewable energy, which makes it the third highest in Africa and also in the Middle East. But that will be coming to you later on. But first, we take a look at the highlights. The top consumer spending for the second year in a row. Now, Kenya gets record 145 billion shillings energy investments. Rice shortage looms as rivers dry up in Mwea. Well, we can keep this session interactive by engaging us on our Twitter handle at K24 TV, and you can tag me at Carol W. Njenga, and we can look at what's happening, or you can update me rather on what's happening on your end. But first, we take a look at the top story of the day, where Kenya has recorded the highest consumer and economic prospects in African markets for the second year in a row. This is according to a survey by New York-based data analytics firm Nielsen Holdings PLC shows. Now, Nielsen Africa Prospect Indicator shows the country remains on top in the continent in the two fronts, but had also deteriorated in terms of business and retail prospects. Economic growth was lower in the first quarter of the year compared to the same period last year, even though most analysis include the Treasury have put the projected gross domestic product growth rate at between 5.5% and 6% for this year. Now to a story that has been making the headlines for the better part of the day, and also yesterday, National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning has rejected the proposed amendments to some of the bills contained in the Finance Bill 2019. One of the bills the legislators have blocked is the Treasury's move to scrap a cap on commercial lending rates imposed by lawmakers in 2016 in a report on the 2019-2020 fiscal year that will be debated and voted on by the whole House. Parliament's Finance Committee maintained that the cap should first be clearly interpreted before being brought back to Parliament. Linda Koskei with that report.
In its budget proposals to Parliament in June, Treasury sought to repeal the rate cap, arguing that it has constricted private sector credit growth as banks shunned lending to customers deemed risky, including small and medium-sized businesses. According to the Central Bank Governor Patrick Njoroge, the cap probably reduced 2017 economic growth by 0.4%. However, Njoroge says the cap would eventually be removed, terming it as a temporary deviation. Treasury had sought to repeal Section 33B of the Banking Amendment Act 2016 so as to enhance the flow of credit, strengthen financial access and monetary policy effectiveness. Member of Parliament for Kitui Central Makali Muli says there is no assurance that banks will reopen the credit taps for small businesses.
When you start ranking the farms which have huge profits at the end of the year, you will find among the top 10, banks are almost all the banks are in that level. The top 10. And I think really what we are saying is banks are making abnormal profits.
A report by International Monetary Fund, however, noted that the slowdown in private sector credit quickened after the interest rate cap, with the agricultural and trade sectors hit the hardest. Parliament will need to vote on the committee's recommendations on a date yet to be determined before the bill is forwarded to the President for assent. Linda Koskei, K24 Business.
Kenya Power has issued a profit warning for the financial year ended June 30th, 2019. The 25% drop in net earnings is attributable to an increase in non-fuel costs in line with the company's long-term strategy in growing cheaper and cleaner renewable energy. In a notice, the company said under the current strategy, the long-term cost of energy to the consumers will be reduced and the long-term profitability of the company will be increased. Jared Otieno, acting Kenya Power Chief Executive Officer, said the growth in renewable energy is aimed at enhancing the company's sustainability and making power affordable while reducing dependency on thermal generation. Now, still on renewable energy, Kenya has attracted a record of 145 billion shillings investment in renewable energy last year, the third highest in Middle East and Africa, deepening its shift from expensive sources of electricity. The 2019 United Nations Environment Programme report that tracked global trends in renewable energy investments shows Kenya overtook Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Jordan and Rwanda to join top 6 hotspots for green energy. Kenya trailed South Africa and Morocco, who attracted 426 billion shillings and 322 billion shillings respectively. The largest deals in the country were 38 billion shillings for the 83 megawatts Kengen Olkaria 1 Unit 6 geothermal plant and 34.6 billion shillings for the 100 megawatts Actis Kipeto wind farm. Now, Nakuru County government plans to shift to solar energy in a bid to cut electricity bills. According to Deputy Governor Eric Corril, the county has been paying huge amounts to the power supplier, running into millions of shillings every month. Sarah Adam with that report.
Nakuru government plans to shift to renewable energy to save costs. Speaking during the official opening of the Renewable Energy exhibition at Kabarak University, Korir noted that once the solar systems are installed, the county can now divert the funds used to pay the power bills to other development goals.
There are other issues like energy saving, which we are adopting as a county. We're paying a lot in terms of electricity to Kenya Power and Lighting Company, and we want to see that go down. And one way of doing that is to listen to these innovators who are here today.
Moses Thiga, Director Research Innovation and Outreach at Kabarak University, said the third annual Solar and Renewable Energy exhibition was initiated as a way to impact the community through the use of renewable energy.
The exhibition has added onto it a new dimension, that of other renewable energies, and in particular we're looking forward to having exhibitors from the area of biogas.
Kennedy Kipkurui from Pet Mary Solar Center called on the community to shift their focus to green energy, saying it will go a long way in promoting environmental conservation.
It will be good if the communities can harness the free sun that is provided freely by nature or by God to power their systems in their homes. And it's good because we are able to cover areas that Kenya Power have not distributed their energies.
His remarks come at a time when Kabarak University is planning to install a multi-million 10-megawatt power plant at the proposed 45 billion Kabarak University Teaching, Research and Referral Mission Hospital. Sarah Adam, K24 for Inside Business.
Now, an acute shortage of rice is looming in Kenya due to lack of sufficient water at the giant Mwea irrigation scheme in Kirinyaga County. Water levels in major rivers which supply irrigation, the irrigation scheme have gone down, pointing to possible low rice harvest this season. Linda Kaskei with that report.
Rice farmers in Kirinyaga County are a sad lot. Rice fields are drying up at the Mwea irrigation scheme due to shortage of water as a result of a prolonged dry spell.
Zinahitaji lazima zikuwe na maji sababu zinafika flowering. So ile maji tunahitaji kwa ile mmea iko kwa shamba saa hii ni 10 meter cubic per second na ile iko available kwa mto ni 5.5 meter cubic per second.
Farmers have expressed fears that there will be low production of rice this season. Major rivers in the county, including Viba and Ramudhambi, which feeds the Mwea scheme, are recording low water levels. National Irrigation Board Managing Director in Kirinyaga, Innocent Ariemba, said the situation could get worse if the drought persists.
Tukipata maji kuanzia kesho before tufika Monday tutakuwa tumekuwa station. Tayari watengeneza vizuri, wakulima wafuata the program to make sure kila mtu amepata maji.
To make matters worse, the county government has announced a major water rationing program in the region. While speaking at a water users stakeholders meeting at the National Irrigation Scheme in Mwea, the stakeholders say the move is aimed at ensuring equal distribution of the commodity to all residents in Kirinyaga. Linda Koskei, K24, Inside Business.
Well, it's that time of the day where we have our discussion, and today we are focusing on the insurance industry and how we can look up for the education policies which Peter Kagia, who is the General Manager, Life Insurance at Monarchy Insurance, is going to talk about. Now, most parents aspire to give their children the best quality education, but the cost of education, especially higher education, continues to rise. Now, education expenses are a long-term obligation that the parent and guardians need to plan and save for, but not all do because of lack of adequate disposable income and poor savings culture. On the other hand, most Kenyans who have tried saving using education insurance policies have been discouraged because of various reasons. Now, Peter Kagia is going to explain further of that. Welcome, first of all, to our studios.
Thank you, Karen.
Now, before we look at the education policies and we delve into that subject, we can look at the insurance penetration rate, which has actually gone down according to a conversation we were having with you, Ali. So it was at 3%, but now it's at 2.5%.
Yeah, it's come down, and especially because of quite a number of reasons. If you compare what was there last year, the year before, and if you look at what has been released by Association of Care Insurers just the other day, it shows that it actually went down, which is not a good thing. But if you look at the volume actually we've seen in those various classes having actually moved up.
Okay, what would you attribute this to? Why is it going down instead of going up?
Basically, in Kenya, if you look at, this actually depends on the various classes of businesses and insurances, the non-life and life. One, the rate at which we Kenyans save is not at the rate that is expected, because insurance comes to be in the last of all the lists that they would like to have in terms of financial planning. So we've seen quite a number of payouts. So it means that those policies are actually maturing in the life businesses, and there are not so many that are coming on board compared to other lines of businesses. If you compare that to other industry like banks, opening of accounts, you can compare the two. So that has been a challenge. The other thing has been because of the lack of uptake of insurance. This is attributable to basically the need to develop more innovative products, because there are many changes, lifestyles are changing. We have many people who are coming on board, and if you look at many consumers coming on board, and the industry needs to run alongside those changes that are coming on board. The lifestyles are changing, the demographic effects, you find that many people are younger. Like now, if you look at the population distribution in Kenya, we have 74% of the people in Kenya being the youth below age 35. So it means that their needs are also changing. So the way we distribute is not the way we used to distribute. We've been so much stuck to the traditional way of distribution of the insurance.
So the low uptake, if I can dwell on that a bit, is it also because of the negative perception towards maybe taking out policies in the market?
Much of it also could be because of the information flow. Because we start very late to identify insurance as part of the integral part of insurance, of financial planning. So by the time you realize that you need to have insurance, it's a bit late, because there are those that needs to. The longer you stay into the insurance journey with the insurance, life insurance, to be particular, the more value you'll get, because you have a longer period of time to save. However small you start, with time, because of the compounding effect of savings, you get much value. But when you go in late, it's a short time, and you might not get much of the value.
Okay.
Yes.
We've also seen rising cases of fraud. One of the challenges that Kenyan underwriters are facing is fraud. What would you mostly attribute this to, or what would be the appropriate action to take against maybe such kind of scenarios?
Well, I would look at it like any other industry. There could be some setbacks. One of them is actually fraud, and that has contributed even to the cost of pricing of these insurance products, because when you have the fraud factored in, you have to price it in the uptake. It means that then the prices of these solutions will be higher. But a lot has been done thanks to the government through regulatory authority. A lot of systems have come in place. A lot of structures have been put in place, like the anti-fraud unit with IRA. Individual players in the market through AKI have done a lot of data collection, and this has actually been able to clean up some of this. If you look at it, fraud right now has been legalized, has been criminalized. So it means that going forward, we'll have quite a lot of these controls coming on board.
Okay.
But that would also translate into savings from the insurance companies, because when insurance companies operate, if they pay claims out of fraud, those actually eats into the bonuses that would actually be coming back to the policyholders or the consumers.
Okay.
And that would also make sure that they'll have that to reduce actually the aspect of the pricing.
Now, coming back now to the topic of discussion, which is education insurance policies, how do we, or parents or guardians, ensure that these education policies actually work for them?
Thank you, Carol. Basically, education is an integral part of a promise that any parent would be happy to deliver or give to the children. It's just like you'll safeguard the child's protection from medical conditions, like taking it for immunization. When a child is brought in, there's need to have that aspect of the financial protection. And what happens is that when a child is born, the savings should start at that time, as we plan for other aspects, and savings can take any form. But education policies has a unique aspect of it. One of it is that it provides the savings from the start for a longer period of time. By the time the child reaches an age where there is need for this money, the money is available. So the parent or the guardian is assured of availability of the money when they really need it.
But one thing that we see actually with parents is that they believe that most of these education policies are a rip-off, yeah? And what would you think about this case?
Yeah, I think I would take it as a perception. One, because of the lack of information. At the point of setting up a plan, there's need for the customers to sit with a financial advisor, collect all the financial needs, and tailor-make those plans that will rightfully resonate with the needs and wants as they fall due. However, you find that mostly we do a ticker box. I have a policy with this such and such insurance company. They also fear at the point that the person might not pay the consumer or the person who is proposing to have to take the policy might not pay the policy up to the end of the period. If it's a 10-year period, 15-year period, they look that to be long. And also there are also fears that comes on because of the value. When you start small, actually you find that at the point, or when you get the benefits, the policyholder or the customer gets less amount that they anticipated because they started low. So, but there's a lot of innovation that have come on board in the market. Most industry players have collaborated to come up with very innovative solutions. One of them is actually the one that ensures that there's flexibility. One customer can start by contributing 1,000 shillings a month or 2,000 shillings a month, but as the income improves, they increase that. So that flexibility comes on board.
Okay, before we even go there, maybe we can look at why should we opt to save for education maybe via insurance policy and not maybe banks or SACCOs?
One thing that differentiates the savings through education policy is aspect of growth. Look at the savings. You put a little more, and it earns some little more. So this aspect of growth. But the most important differentiator of this is actually the peace of mind coming from the guarantee, this protection. Allow me to give you an example. The cost of education, let's say, is 1.5. The child is going for 4 years period, and then university. You can tailor-make this to have the contribution coming on board for, let's say, 1,000 shillings for 15 years, for 10 years. But in the unlikely event that this disability, before the term, the child or the parents is assured that the money will be available. The 1.5 million that was promised is there. So that aspect of the promise and the peace of mind differentiate it from other savings through SACCOs or through the bank accounts or under the pillow.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to us. We wish you could continue, but time is not on our side. But that has been Peter Kagia, who is the General Manager for Life Insurance at Monarchy Insurance. And we've been talking about how you as a parent or a guardian can take up education insurance policy for your child. Now, moving on to other stories making headlines, a section of traders operating in Kitengela open market are opposed to the market upgrading by the county government, saying it is a plan to nudge them out of the premises. Their disagreement with the Kajiado County government has now forced county officers to forcibly demolish stalls erected at the intended market site. Linda Koskei with the details of our report.
It was a running battle between Kitengela traders, hawkers and county askaris after the county government demolished makeshift structures along the market. Traders complained that the county government hastened the demolition without giving them adequate time to move their property.
Ni kwa nini wanatufurugia vitu? Hata si wangetuambia tupepe vitu zetu. Walifunga soko wao wenyewe tukaachana na hiyo soko. Alafu tumerent mahali tunauzia wameharibu.
Hao watu wote hawezi toshea watu. Kwa hiyo uwanja yenye mmewapea. Tusaidie. Serikali ifanye nini? Ifanye kazi. Lakini mambo ya kupiga watu kila saa na vipoko na matia kazi tumechoka.
The county government had already relocated close to 1,200 traders from the controversial market to the bus stop set to construct a 40 million modern market. However, traders who missed out stalls at the new temporary market rented spaces along the old market to continue with their businesses. And now Kajiado County Governor Joseph Olelenku has sent a stern warning against those opposed to the new market for funding goons to cause destruction.
Perimeter wall imekuwa ikijengwa katika soko la Kitengela, imevunjwa na watoto ambayo wamekuwa incited na viongozi. Na mimi nataka kuambia watu wa usalama, hawa wakora washikwe, wafungwe.
It's now 4 months since the county fenced the market, but no construction is ongoing as the contractor awarded the tender has pulled out of the project. Linda Koskei, K24, Inside Business.
The value of Kenya's coffee edged 6% in this week's trading, attributable to higher quality beans and a price surge at the New York Exchange. Now, a market report from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange indicates that a 50-kilogram bag of coffee fetched at 11,435, up from 10,712 last week. Now, the Chief Executive Officer Daniel Mbithi said the good quality of beans raised demand for the commodity, hence impacting positively on the price. The price of coffee at New York, which had been low in the previous 2 weeks, shot from 98.61% pound last week to 108 in the latest sale. Now we take a look at how the money markets as well as the shares have been performing at the NSE. We'll be looking at the top gainers and also the top losers, the 3 top losers and 3 top gainers from the NSE market as of yesterday. And we'll look at the top gainers, where Kakuzi market share price was 385, and that is 10% change. Express Kenya came in second with 7 shillings market share price, and that was 9.64% change. And Longhorn Publishers market price share was 6.60, and that was 7.49% change. Now to the top losers of the day, we have TransCentury, which market share price was 3.20, and that is a percentage change of negative 8.83. Now, Flame Group, that's a Flame Tree Group, market share price was 2.20. That is a negative 8.33% change. Now, Sanlam Kenya market share price was 17.40, and that is a negative 4.66. Now, after that, we look at how the shares, or rather the shilling, has been performing for the better part of the day, and we will see how the shilling has been performing against the US dollar, as well as the other foreign exchange, which is the sterling pound, as well as the SA rand and the Ugandan shillings and the Tanzanian shillings. And we look at how the Ugandan or the US dollar has been looking, and we'll be giving you that later in our broadcast. But first, that is how we end Inside Business for today. Unfortunately, we cannot be able to run the stock market for today, but we'll be bringing you that tomorrow. You can look us up on our website at K24 TV, that is www.k24tv.co.ke, and you'll have how the exchange rate has been for the better part of the morning. My name is Njenga. Have a great afternoon.